Well, good evening. When you think about parts of the border that have a barrier, you might expect those parts to look like this, some kind of large gate, fencing, or a wall dividing Arizona from Mexico. But agents down in Lukeville say that is not always the case. In fact, they say this is what much of the barrier looks like in that area, and it stretches for miles. And agents say it's a big concern. Cameras were rolling as Border Patrol agents arrested a group of nearly 100 migrants along the U.S.-Mexican border in Lukeville.
¿Con quién viene el niño? ¿Usted?
Agents separate the migrants into groups. This group is men and their sons.
Una camiseta, okay?
They're stripped of their belongings, shoestrings, and only allowed one shirt.
Se ponen el cinturón.
One by one, the migrants load dozens of vans. One man came with his son from Guatemala. He says he didn't know his chances of getting asylum were better had he crossed legally. Now another journey begins as they make their way to processing.
And from that point, they'll head over to one of our immigration partners, whether it's in Tucson or Phoenix, I don't know. But ultimately, every person has a different path through the immigration system.
But it's the path to this point that's the concern for border agents. A 4-foot fence made from recycled railroad. It's the only barrier for miles.
We're in a very vast, remote area that the border doesn't look like anything that people see in most places.
This is about 50 yards away from the Mexican highway, where agents say migrants are getting dropped off by car.
They just pulled up to the highway and walked underneath.
Surveillance cameras capturing one of those drop-offs as migrants walk easily into the U.S.
Well, there's definitely a crisis where hundreds of people are crossing a border unimpeded.
They say a wall would help.
Well, infrastructure helps, and infrastructure is a tool. We know that infrastructure is one of the things that can slow people down or keep people out in certain aspects. We know that it's not the end-all, be-all. We know that there's got to be agents to make an arrest and technology to monitor that infrastructure.
And word of this vulnerable area has apparently reached Mexico. In Sonora, it's not just vendors filling the town square, but many migrants are planning their trip up north.
So basically more are on the way.
More could be on the way. Yeah.
All right, Derek, thank you for that report.